Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon Wynn and this is Critical Failure. So this video is about Genasi. Yeah, the elemental humanoids. So I went to the subrace handbook that you can get on the DM's Guild, and I'm just using that, the revised stats for the Genasi, to essentially make this video. So when I give you these stats and it doesn't like line up for what you guys want or what you used to, it's in the subrace handbook. So the base stats is a +2 to con, your size medium, and you have a speed of 30. That's really all it gives on that. So going to the stats and how I run them after that, but the stats for the revised Air Genasi is a con +2 and a dex +1. You get unending breath, so you're pretty much able to hold your breath as long as possible, like literally indefinitely, unless you're unconscious or dead. Obviously, when you're not dead, you have a feature called Mingle with the Wind, where you know the gust cantrip. You know how to cast Levitate once per long rest, and no materials are needed. And Constitution is the spell casting modifier. I think Constitution from like all of these is the casting modifier, which to me is really weird because I don't know why Constitution would be a spell modifier. But to continue, you have something called Airborne Leap, where your long jump is 25 feet and the high jump is 10 feet. And this part's really cool. And you can fall up to 50 feet without taking damage. That's really cool to me. You also get Wind Strike, which essentially when you're attacking with unarmed, versatile, or one-handed weapon, your reach is extended 5 feet. So if you got a long sword, you're going to be hitting at 10 feet. These guys are really cool. I kind of see them being more like Avatar: The Last Airbender type of people, so where they're like nomads. They're more on the peaceful side and stuff like that. I don't see them really being like fighters just based on how I see them. I would have them obviously as like warrior monks of some sort, who of course you can make them fighters and stuff like that and just have it to where it's like they're a warrior monk or whatever. But these guys seem more of like the close-knit type of guys who love each other and stuff like that. And that's pretty much how I did all these guys. It was like kind of like accidentally Avatar: The Last Airbender, like just in my head and stuff like that. The revised Earth Genasi is a con +2 and a strength +1. So really good for like these guys. I actually see as like more fighters. You get Earth Walk, which essentially is you get to walk I messed it up again. Walk, because I forgot the L the first time. You get to walk in rocky terrain without expending any more movement. So if you're in like rough terrain that deals with any type of earth, you're not expending any more movement. You're just walking normal speed. So take that, you peasants that don't have that ability. You get Stone Skin, so when you're not wearing armor, you have 8+ Dex plus Constitution as your AC, which I see really cool if you have a high Dex and high Con. You get Quaking Feet, which is essentially at level 3 you can cast Earth Tremor once per long rest for no materials. And you get Earth Shape, Mold Earth, and that's a cantrip. And you have 3 of its non-instant effects instead of 2, and those are active. I don't know any of that, like that cantrip, I don't know. I actually didn't know of it until this, like reading this. These guys are like the Earthbenders, again, close-knit family as all of them are, and they're more brutal, I guess. Like they're kind of like used to hardship and stuff like that, so they don't take anything for granted. They heavily care about like their surroundings and stuff like that, and they do what they can to actually minimize their effect on the world, is how I would say it, because these guys care a lot. Going to the Fire Genasi, yeah, everything was fine to the Fire Genasi attacks. You get a Con +2 and an Intelligence +1. So you get Dark Vision up to 60 feet, which all these others don't get for some reason. And instead of seeing it in gray, you actually see it in a like red. I'm thinking like thermal imaging type of that's how you see things instead of just red. So that's what I think is really cool, is if you make it more like thermal imaging, you're able to see heat signatures rather than just seeing in red, because seeing in red seems kind of boring to me. You get fire resistance, which is funny because I don't think actually, yeah, another one does get a resistance. 3 of them get resistances actually, so I'm wrong. But you get reach into the blaze, which could have sounded really cooler. You get the produce flame cantrip, so if you really want to be a torch, or the human torch, you get, at 3rd level you get burning hands, and you can use that once per long rest, and con is the spellcasting modifier, which is weird. And burning fields, I think that's what it says, and you get control flames cantrip, and you get 4 of the non-instant effects active instead of 3. Don't know that one. I don't know most of those. But these guys, definitely the more hotheads. They're definitely going to be warriors and stuff like that, paladins. And they don't have to be necessarily lawful evil or evil at all. Like, I just see them more of like people who are hot-headed and stuff like that. Like most people within the Fire Nation are. The Storm Genasi, which I honestly didn't realize that this was supposed to be completely different than the Water Genasi, because I was thinking that they just replaced the name for the Water Genasi at the time. So I was like, this is weird. There's no Water Genasi. And then I was reading more and I found it. But you get a Constitution of +2 and a Charisma modifier of +1. So that's really useful. You get lightning resistance. So whenever you're fighting a blue dragon, you're not going to get as hurt compared to other people. You get predict weather, which this is like the most weirdest thing. It's like essentially you, like, I think it's a bonus action, but you essentially can make this weird anomaly happen, and it like essentially tells you what the I think it's that day's upcoming forecast and stuff like that, or the next 24 hours. And it's like the most weird thing, because I'm imagining like someone being like, what's the weather going to be like in the middle of combat, because it actually says it's either an action or a bonus action, and it's weird. You get Thunder Call, which it's an action, and creatures within 15 feet, creatures within a 15 feet cone make a Constitution save. On a failed save, they take 2d6 thunder damage, and they are deafened, and that sound can be heard 300 feet away. I thought that was really cool. You get Fury of the Storm, and you know the Thunderclap cantrip, and at 3rd level you know Witch Bolt, and you can cast that once per long rest without any materials. The spellcasting thing is Constitution. Don't know why it's Constitution. And then these guys, because of how I thought these guys were the waterbenders, I kind of took them and realized that this could be more like lightning bending. So just pretty much take these as more disciplined fire Genasis. That's how I would have it, because they're just Avatar Last Airbender, you know? And then the revised Water Genasi. These guys have a Constitution of +2 and a Wisdom of +1. They get acid resistance, so almost everything has acid resistance or poison resistance. So yeah, they're amphibious, so they can breathe air and in water. They have a swim speed of 30 feet, and they have something called Call the Wave, which is Shape Water cantrip. At their level, you can create or destroy water at 2nd level. That's once per long rest. Constitution is a spell casting thing, and no materials are needed. And you have something called Tide's Motion, and you can now use Shape Water, and you get 4 of the non-instant effects instead of 3, and those are active, like whenever. Now, these guys definitely think like Katara and like that type of water tribe, like small, close-knit. Like, I'm not thinking like the Northern Water tribe at all. Like, those guys are like dicks, but I'm thinking more like Southern Water tribe, where they were more like loving and stuff like that. Of course, they're the fighters within the group and stuff like that, but that's how I saw them. I know in my upcoming campaign, there's going to be a group of Genasis as a faction. It's not going to be a large faction. My factions are just 5 people or more, so know that. And which you're like, that's a group. It's like, I just wrote as factions. But there's a faction of these guys. It's more than 5 people in it. I just wrote 5 people as a starting thing. And they're going to be in it, and they're going to be acting much like this, but because of how my campaign is, they're going to be fighting, so definitely expect it to somewhat contradict what you expect. I know I have to start on my halfling video. I need to actually put up the Siegward thing on DM's Guild. That will take me a while, because I have made Siegward of Katarina as a hireling NPC that you DMs can use. It took me a long time to actually figure this out. No, I did not roll stats. It does not. I do not understand why if you would try to make me roll stats. And so I gave him legitimately, I would say, good stats. He's a fighter and stuff like that, so you'll be getting it. It took me a long time to figure out what specific archetype you should be, but you'll see once I put it on DM's Guild. So I'll definitely be putting it on Instagram, might be shouting it out here. I put it on there in the beginning of a video, but today on Instagram I'm going to be putting out some Dark Souls weapons. Also, not many. I'm actually having to go play the game here soon just so I can write down some of the names on there just so I can use it. I know I have a shield that I made a feat for because it's pretty cool. But yeah, just looking at those weapons right now. I know I have to do the dwarves and halflings. I'm still going to be doing my elemental were creature video. I actually want to do that with Edward, so him and I have to meet just to do that. Oh, I'm coming up with consumables. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, that's the end of the video, so see you guys.